I'm getting the feed up and going. Let's see. Yeah, we're getting everything up and running here, and it's looking pretty good. And like I said, I'm Brother Michael Israel here. You are watching Spiritual Combat, and what we're doing is wrapping up the Biblical Masculinity series. This is, of course, as you can see up there, part 6 of the Biblical Masculinity series. It's a series that I did here, dedicated to properly defining what it means to be a man in a biblical sense of the word. It's something that it's not getting taught anywhere, and it's a big void, and it causes it's when because I do a lot of my ministry basically based on relationship and marriage counseling, particularly for the men, because at the end of the day, I found this to be at the core of almost all the issues when I encounter issues with people with men in their relationships and stuff like that. This is at the core of it. Men don't know how to be men anymore because uh, we, like I was telling a brother yesterday, we swim in an ocean of emasculation, and it's just everywhere. And so the reason I came up with this series, and then majority of my ministry is based on this, is just teaching men how to be men and how to function properly when they're dealing with women, how they think about themselves, how they interact in this society, how to interact with this society as biblical masculine men. Because like I said, this society, this culture seeks to emasculate you. Okay. Um, so that's what this series here um, is predominantly, focused on. And for those of you who watch regularly, I know that the show looks a little different today. I had my main computer messed up. I'm gonna get it fixed today. So when I get that fixed, we'll be back to the regular look and stuff, everything like that. But until that time, you just got to bear. You're just gonna have to work with what we got here. So I'm just making sure everything's up and running here properly, and we'll get into it. So what this is the final lesson of this series on biblical masculinity, and what I'm a mainly tackle on here is and shalom, brother Chris. I see you on there. So what I'm a mainly tackle. All right, hold on one sec. I think we got a connection issue here. Yep, looks like we do. All right. All right, let me see what my connection issue is on YouTube. Hmm. Yeah, we just have a connection issue, so it looks fine here. So I'm gonna just press on with it. But anyway, when it comes to biblical masculinity, in the earlier parts of this lesson, um, we were defining what masculinity actually is. And in other lessons that I do, we're gonna continue to talk about that, because that's the core of things. So even in this series, if you felt like I didn't you needed more in-depth understanding on how I define masculinity and stuff like that, because once you have that, that's like you have a base to operate off, a base mindset according to the Most High's word of how you need to be functioning as a man. So I'm definitely, in future series and future lessons I'm gonna be doing, I'm gonna be going in more on defining and having a clear understanding of your identity and your role as a biblically masculine man in dealing with whether it's people at work, your wife, difficult situations and stuff like that. I'm a just come with a clear base of operations and clear mindset of how you should be, who you should be, with biblical examples in future series and lessons, like, you know. But anyway, wrapping up this biblical masculinity series, is one of the key areas is a lot of stuff I brought out. What typically happens is you begin making the changes, but eventually you encounter a spiritual stronghold. Okay. And this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where a lot of people, because they're not getting the proper biblical teaching, a lot of people, when they encounter a spiritual stronghold, um, when they encounter a spiritual stronghold, they tend to, what I see a lot of people do is tend to go around it instead of go through it and destroy it and pull it down. They'll make up weird, clever doctrines. They'll somehow try to justify it to themselves because they can't overcome it. Some of these spiritual strongholds, one of the big ones is lust, pornography addiction, um, homosexuality. That's lust gone wild. It's just another type of lust. You know what I'm saying? It's a people aren't doing homosexuality, and they're not doing addicted to pornography because uh, it's just who they are. They're doing it because it feels good. You know what I'm saying? That's why that's same thing with marijuana addiction. People aren't fighting for that and wanting to do that because, oh, because it's medicinal purpose and stuff like that. No, they're doing it because it feels good to the flesh. And a lot of people with the pornography addiction, they don't want to be addicted to it. With the homosexuality, they want to get over it, but it's a spiritual stronghold. There's spirits involved with this thing. Okay, you've done stuff. You fulfilled certain requirements in the spirit world to be demonically possessed or demonically oppressed in certain areas in your life, whether it be those lust, stuff like that, whether it be having that Ahab spirit, that soft spirit, that spirit of fear that a lot of people have, that hinders their masculinity from really showing. A lot of people have a combination. Another big one is that spirit of introvertedness, where, and this is a big one, where in certain situations you begin to waver in situations of conflict or uncomfortable situations. You begin to waver in these situations, and you get dodgy eye contact. You kind of back down and stuff like that. That's a big one. And even recently with me, through you know public speaking, you know, doing these lessons, teaching like the Most High used evangelist Majors as a William Majors Brown. He used him as a vessel to because Majors invited me to speak at a men's conference, and he's invited me to speak at some of his other uh, um, uh, things he's put on, programs he's put on, whatever you want to call it. But that helped me come out my shell. Dealing with people at my job helped me come out my shell, or whatever you want to call it, where you can be in uncomfortable situations where people might be trying to intimidate you or tease you or whatever. Like at my job, I got some brothers there. They know I'm in the truth. One of the dudes is actually a Mason, and they harass me all the time. But what I found is when I started comfortably standing there dealing with them, so just giving them eye contact and being at peace and not like letting it shake me up, being unwavering, being anchored with my roots into the ground of who I am and not wavering on it, just being like comfortable and laughing and just being myself while under their, you could call it harassment or teasing, whatever that you want to call what they're doing. But as they began to see me comfortably stand there in the situation, I quickly noticed that they began to just back off and just kind of become real cool with me. But if I had just kept standing there and they could detect that I'm beginning like that I'm uncomfortable in my own skin or whatever when they're giving me a hard time, they just keep it up because certain people feed on that. But when they detect true masculinity, that you're anchored, truly anchored in who you are according to this word, and you're comfortable in that, and you're comfortable with the uncomfortable. A lot of men aren't doing that. If you go on Facebook, you can pick out the men who are not masculine real fast because they getting all emotional. They be going back and forth with people, debating, getting all emotional on Facebook and letting it shake them up there, let alone in a real life situation. And women also pick up on that. When you walk up and approach a woman and you're standing there right there in front, a woman is very sensitive. She can pick up on all these little cues that, hey, he's not comfortable with who he is. You know, he's not a grounded man. You know, they can pick up on that better than any man can, because women are sensitive. You know what I'm saying? And they have heightened senses, and they need to, because they are barometer. They are a barometer to who you are as a man, how much of a man you're being. So so yeah, that's a big thing. So like I said, when these are strongholds that a lot of people need to uncover. The Most High is not giving us a spirit of fear, but of a sound mind. He's giving us a spirit of boldness. So if you're operating in that spirit of fear, of that spirit of, I'm trying to think of the word of, not the opposite of abundance. You know what I'm saying? You know, a spirit of uncertainty, you know, of clinginess or whatever. That's a type of a spirit of fear. Okay, and some of these can just be overcome just by it being taught to you. But some of them, like the lust, the porn addiction, the homosexuality, the spirit of fear, of I'm an introvert, of the spirit of emotionalism, where things just get you fired up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm not going to give another example, but just stuff like that. You see it all over Facebook where people are just going back and forth with long threads Like there was a sister, she got on one of my posts yesterday, and she was saying something. I wasn't sure what she was saying, but I just messaged her personally, and because I don't like typing anyway. And then I ended up calling her. She's from Netherlands, and we had a real fruitful conversation. You know, and I've had people come at me crazy. It don't shake me up. It's like it's not that serious. Just text on the screen. But anyway, I got off the subject. Let's get back to when you can't overcome these things, and you and you've tried. Now you're dealing with a a spiritual stronghold with demonic possession or demonic oppression. Okay, and the way to overcome that, like the Most High says, some of these only come out by prayer and fasting. So what I say, my method for, and I'm saying what I say, what the word says is, you gotta pray, fast, and seek the Lord on some of this. It's not gonna come out. I had a pornography addiction way back when, and I I have a lot of willpower and drive, but it was totally powerless to overcome that. And I realized how powerful it was. I realized I was demonically possessed or demonically oppressed in that area of my life. So what I did, I prayed to the Most High, because I said, first pray. And it wasn't no, oh Lord, thou hast sinned type prayer. It was just, it's called, look up the definition of the word supplication. It was earnestly and humbly begging for help and forgiveness, and earned with my heart. Not just, yeah, Lord, my bad, I sinned, like most people do. No, I earnestly wanted this thing off me. That's the praying. The fasting is not just food. I started fasting. I would skip breakfast and lunch because I work a very physical job. I'm an aircraft mechanic. So I prayed, I fasted, and when I say fast, not just food, but I stopped watching television. At the time, I was drinking and going to clubs. I stopped drinking and going to the clubs. I stopped drinking caffeine. Okay, anything I could that was bringing me pleasure that I could cut out of my life with my willpower, I did. I couldn't cut the porn out, so I didn't. And in my prayer, I said, look, I'm not going to stop doing it because I can't, but I can stop doing this. I did sacrifice that to him. So pray, fast. And then the last one is seeking the Lord, studying his word, doing searches in the Bible of exactly what I'm struggling with, and studying it, strengthening that area of my mind, of my spirit up. Praying, fasting, and seeking the Lord. Looking up videos of teachings on what I'm dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Um, so doing that, and just studying and getting understanding on exactly what I'm struggling with. So praying, fasting, and seeking the Lord. And in doing that, the next thing you know, a week had passed. I hadn't looked at porn or anything. 3 weeks passed. I hadn't looked at porn. 4 months passed. I hadn't looked at it. Here we are, 5, 6 years done passed, and I haven't looked at it. Okay? So that is the process. Like the Most High says, some of these spirits, some of these strongholds only come off you by praying and fasting. Because like I said, in the spirit world, you've done something to give these spirits a right to demonically oppress you. Whether you just been for years just not trying to address it, and it's grown into demonic oppression or possession, or whatever, you haven't faced it. You know what I'm saying? I talk about the importance of going through these issues, not going around them and shoving them off in the corner, because then they grow into big elephants in the room of your spirit. So that's what a lot of these situations, like I said, that is the key to overcoming these things that doesn't get taught a lot because a lot of people aren't doing this. And but it's something I teach on a lot. So all right, hold on one sec. Somebody, I guess, trying to interfere. That's very rude. But when people do that, just call me and I have no idea who they are. I think they should know better than that. I just kind of block them. But anyway, yeah, so it's important to this is one of the missing links. This is why a lot of people are not overcoming their situations. You know what I'm saying? This is the reason why a lot of, like, you see what I I get disturbed with some of these doctrines these people come up with, just subtly implying, because it's blatantly obvious the relationship roles and how a man should function in a relationship. It's all through the Bible on surface level. You don't even got to read into it. It's obvious how you need to be functioning as a man in your relationship. And it's obvious how the woman needs to be functioning as a woman in her relationship and what their mindsets need to be. It's surface level, simple stuff all through the Bible, blatantly obvious. But you got these soft, effeminized men who are buying in to this Greco-Roman culture and society. And what they're doing is subtly manipulating the doctrine to conform to this Greco-Roman beast culture. And in doing that, people continue to be deceived and to stay in dysfunction in their relationships. They're hurting people's relationships. And I mean, truth be told, a lot of these people are just, you watch these conferences, you listen to people teach on relationships, even in the Hebrew community, and it's absolutely useless information. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans, you know. So, but anyway, that is one of the other big areas where you could say a lot of people are, and I hit it on it earlier, where this applies, where the prayer, fasting, and seeking the Lord, where you might have to go to that end because you've just been doing this too much. And what I kind of call is like the Ahab spirit, where you just, or the Adam spirit, where you're just hearkening unto your wife. That's what this society encourages. You look at Star Wars now, you look at all these movies now where the men are silly, they're doing silly stuff, and the woman is a wise leader. That's the new norm. And people, it's funny because people are getting frustrated with it. They actually had to take, now I'm not sure whether it was like a producer or a director or something. They actually had to replace the director on the Star Wars series because a lot of Star Wars fans were just getting fed up with how the men are just so silly and pointless, and the women are, switching over to the women are the heroes of the story, and they're deviating from I guess, what's written in the books of the Star Wars series. Same thing with the Ghostbusters movie. I was watching, this guy was, uh, it was a guy on YouTube I was watching. He was teaching on the same topic. Now he's not in the Hebraic troop, but he was teaching on the same topic, talking about how the Ghostbusters people, how that movie, it was all, they came out with one recently and it was all women and it flopped. But it's just that push, feminizing the culture. So anyway, but like I said, pray, fast, seek the Lord. That is the solution to these issues out here. And but with that said, that is going to wrap up the biblical masculinity series. If you guys have any questions, um, I don't care if you totally disagree with what I'm saying. That's fine. I don't get mad. I welcome questions. I don't care how against what I'm saying they are, or how with they're saying, how in agreement with what I'm saying they are. The questions you ask are, I welcome them, ask them, I encourage them. You know, I'm not gonna get mad. I'll just do a video answering your question, and it won't be in a malicious way. It's encouraged because it sharpens me on what I'm teaching. So I encourage you to ask questions, and it helps me more do more accurate videos that could be more of a blessing to you. Um, if this video bless you, share it. You know what I'm saying? That's the best thing you do for me. Like it, share it. Encourage you to do that. And I hope this series helped you. Like I said, I'm gonna continue doing these series in this area. You know, I'm working on because another area that I realized recently is, I realize a lot of us, include a lot of people, including me, teach stuff, and we don't. I realize I need to go more in depth into it, bring it all the way down to the basics. Like a lot of us, like I'll teach, hey, us men, we need to be more responsible, but we don't go all the way in on it to the point of breaking down. Look, this is what you need to do to be responsible in this area, and you know, really going into the minute detail, because a lot of our brothers, like, saying, hey, be responsible, that's a very vague term. What do you mean? You know, what does that mean? What does that look like? So that's what I'm gonna do when I teach stuff uh, from now on, because I see where a lot of stuff is just being said and it's really not being explained. A lot of people don't understand how the lack of understanding a lot of our brothers have. Like a lot of brothers and sisters, you know, we're coming out of this oppression. We're coming out from these curses we've been under. So there's a lot of wisdom and a lot of stuff our brothers and sisters don't know. And it's fundamental stuff. And if we don't have the foundational stuff established, if we're not doing that, then it's just going to be, hey, shalom, Brother John. Um, yeah, we don't have that fundamental stuff established. It's just gonna, you know, it's just gonna create issues. So, I mean, if you don't have that foundation established, you can't build on that. If brothers don't know what responsibility is, and consistency and diligence, if they don't understand and know what that is, um, then you don't have a found. You can't build with your brothers, because then you can't count on them, and you got to be able to count. We need to be able to count on each other. We need each other. So anyway, with that said, I'm gonna wrap this series up. Like I said, if you got questions, you know, I welcome them, and I'll be starting on another series. It's probably gonna be next week. I'm not sure. I might start it tomorrow, because I'm gonna be heading up to New York for the conference this week. So it's gonna be pretty busy. But I'll see what I could do. I might, you know, I might start it sooner, but I'll definitely be working on it. But anyway, with that said, I hope this series bless you, and I'm gonna wrap this up. And shalom.